Sarah's hands trembled as she stared at the condom tucked inside Mark's blazer pocket. 10 years of marriage, 2 beautiful children, and she never once questioned his late nights or constant phone calls. His demanding job as a corporate lawyer had given them everything: the sprawling house in the suburbs, private schools for the kids, exotic vacations every summer. It was a life she'd only dreamed of growing up in her modest childhood home. How could she possibly complain about a few missed dinners or weekend work trips? But that single condom, hidden in the silk lining of his pocket, changed everything in an instant. Her heart pounding, Sarah tried checking his phone that same evening while he showered. His messaging apps were password locked, every single one. Her stomach dropped as the reality began to sink in. This wasn't paranoia. This was real. A close friend had been through something eerily similar just last year, discovering her fiancé's double life through a digital investigator who specialized in infidelity cases. Sarah's hands shook as she made the call the next morning. A week later, the investigator's voice was gentle but firm as she warned Sarah to read the report completely alone, somewhere private where she could process what she was about to learn. What Sarah discovered in those pages didn't just crack her world, it shattered it into 1,000 irreparable pieces. Mark had been having an ongoing affair with a woman 15 years younger, a struggling entrepreneur whose failing business he'd been secretly financing with their joint savings. But it went far deeper than one affair. He'd been attending private parties with multiple partners, posting explicit content in anonymous online forums under various usernames, and spending thousands of dollars on escorts in every city he traveled to for work. The investigator's timeline suggested this had been going on for at least 7 years. 7 years of lies. 7 years of betrayal while she'd been home raising their children, believing in their marriage. Sarah made a decision that took every ounce of strength she possessed. She would wait until after the holidays. She couldn't rob her children of one last Christmas as an intact family, couldn't taint their memories of opening presents and decorating cookies with the knowledge of what was coming. During those agonizing weeks, she smiled through school concerts and family dinners while quietly seeing lawyers, getting tested for STIs, and methodically preparing for the battle ahead. When Mark flew out for a work conference in January, Sarah spent 3 days packing his belongings into 6 large suitcases. She changed every lock in the house. She opened a separate bank account and transferred her share of their savings. She documented everything. When he returned home late on a Sunday evening, exhausted from his flight, she greeted him in the hallway with his luggage neatly stacked and divorce papers in her hand. As she calmly walked him through the evidence, printouts of messages, bank statements, photographs, he crumbled before her eyes. He broke down crying, his face buried in his hands, claiming it was all stress from work, a compulsion he couldn't control. He needed help, not judgment. Then came the manipulation she'd been expecting. If she left him, he said through tears, he'd have no choice but to marry the other woman. She was already expecting that outcome. But if Sarah took him back, if she could just find it in her heart to forgive him, he'd end everything immediately. He'd get therapy. He'd be the husband she deserved. They could start fresh. That desperate attempt at control was the final nail in the coffin of their marriage. Now, 3 months into the divorce proceedings, he alternates between begging for another chance and raging that she's ruined his life, destroyed their family, and denied their children a father. He calls it a mental health issue, an addiction beyond his control, something that happened to him rather than choices he actively made. His lawyer is pushing the same narrative, trying to paint him as a victim of his own impulses. But Sarah knows the truth with absolute certainty. It was never about stress or compulsion or addiction. It was never about her not being enough or not understanding his needs. It was entitlement, pure and simple. The entitlement of a man who believed he deserved everything. A devoted wife at home and endless adventures outside it, without consequences, without accountability, without ever having to choose.